Let's freaking go! After a nice Christmas break, where we really didn't take a Christmas break, our patrons know about our deep breakdowns we have already done on patreon.com/LSU football. We've got a lot to get to. We are less than a week away from the game versus Purdue. I had a very long and productive conversation yesterday with someone close to the NUSSMEIERs. Obviously, you can go to patreon.com/LSU football and learn some extra insight that I've learned from his situation. Obviously, today, the big news is Garrett Nussmeier got a name, image, and likeness deal for the bowl game from Cheez-Its. So at the very least, we know he is not going to enter the transfer portal from now until the bowl game, and he will more than likely play in the bowl game. But will he actually play in the bowl game? Will he actually get the opportunity to get snaps? First thing, I'm always excited when players get money. I love it when a big corporate sponsorship sweeps in because that means they're getting some probably good cheddar. I didn't mean to do that. I swear. Get it, cheddar, Cheez-Its. But anyway, I'm really excited about Garrett Nussmeier potentially getting the opportunity. And Jace, based on what I've heard, I do believe he will get the chance to play. We say hi to Tony, who joined the PHL Hoodie Club. Look at that, Tony the Tiger. I love it. That just makes me so happy. Get yours at powerhourlsu.com. Roby says he really hasn't had a full game with the starting lineup. Buchanan includes the Southern game because he had backups playing with them. Nuss needs to start. What a cheesy joke. That's what it's all about. We say hi to Jason. We say hi to Max. We say hi to LA Mom. LA Mom is actually sending something to my P.O. box for not me, but Haley for the Christmas holiday. There's the unblocked music. Barry, I would put your photo up there, but I cannot do that because of the name. Heartwing says JD fans hoping his mental errors are fixable. His mechanics are good, but his inconsistency isn't. We have a QB that does poorly when he's given time to think. You have a big problem. We'll see. Honestly, I think it's the opposite. I think his mechanics are okay, but his mindset is actually fine. He actually does see throws. He just doesn't actually rip it for whatever reason. Now, are there some times where he has blatantly, based on the coverage principles and pre-snap alignment, just missed throws? Yes. But for the most part, I think mentally Jaden is, not just schematically, but more so intangible-wise, he is truly special between the ears. What's up, Roger? I get to see Roger tomorrow. I'm pretty excited about that. We say hi to Salazar. Going back to the A&M game. Good to see you, Salazar. It's been a while. What's up, Jared? One of my favorite viewers, one of my favorite people. So we're going to talk some Garrett Nussmeier tonight. We're obviously going to talk some Jaden Daniels tonight. I'm also going to give you some transfer portal grades. Now, if you go to Patreon, once again, patreon.com/LSU football, I share a few details from my conversation yesterday. It was a good day, not having to worry about producing any content and just doing a lot of behind the scenes digging on some of these players that we're getting. I will say at this point, just based on my own evaluations from the transfer portal players that are coming in, there is a gap for me. It could be different for you between Denver Harris and everybody else. He's really good. I do think Denver Harris is going to be at minimum a Mekhi Gardner type of player for us next year. And I cannot state, I know some of you have texted me privately about some concerns about Denver Harris's character. There was obviously multiple off the field incidents. There was this crazy Tokyo Drift video in the parking lot. At this point, though, there's only so many people that can play outside corner at a high level, and he's one of them. Now, do I think he is Derek Stingley? No, because nobody is that good. Rarely, there's one corner every year that's that good, and there's not many of those guys, right? Look, it's just not a Sauce Gardner just sitting there for you. But I do think Denver Harris is a really good football player. Now, is some of that just confirming my priors based on my high school evaluation? It is. Once again, I'll shout him out. King Ulysses is a good buddy of mine, one of our many viewers. He knows what I think about Denver Harris. I think the world of him. Don't know him personally. Don't know anybody close to him. So once again, we could get into, obviously Brian Kelly's culture at LSU is really good. There's a lot of players that do the right thing. How many off the field suspensions, incidents do you know about with the LSU football team this past year for players that actually played or were on the roster day one versus Florida State? There's not many. There's really not many. So you do worry about that some. But once you have your second opportunity, yeah, there's some players like an Ajayi Hall with the second opportunity. It doesn't work out there either. But I am going to say Denver Harris can really freaking play football. Let's go to Max's super chat here. Once again, you guys know Max is one of our most generous subscribers. He is the president of the PHL New York City chapter. If Nuss or Walker don't start, I have to shake my head. They need playing time, and there's not going to get any with the way our offense is with JD5 is this year, just saying. Yeah, so it is very it is very, very interesting. Now, we have hit 100 viewers. Very good. I really appreciate that. There is no Presley collection pearls given away. That's why you got to tune in every night, because I think Star is going to do more of these just giveaways, right? And what we're going to do with the future giveaways that will actually make it random, right? I got to choose who won the last award, and I gave it to someone who's been with me for a while in Big Al. And I think he deserved it. I think there was other people texting me actually saying, hey, I think Big Al deserves it. He's been with me since I've had 50 subscribers. But the next time we do a giveaway, it's going to be a little bit more random, right? So that's why I got to tune in every live stream. Anthony Starr Presley got a huge rise out of that. Not only from people like interested, but just like he just enjoyed seeing you guys really enjoy that. So, I agree with this from Max. I really do think they should start one of the two, and I think they should start Garrett Nussmeier. I do think Jaden Daniels should remain the starter of the team, but I do think it would be interesting to see what Garrett Nussmeier could give you as a vertical passing threat, something that Jaden is not, it's not somewhere where he has excelled. Also, Jaden nursing the ankle injury. Now, if it's fully healed, it does change my opinion just a little bit. But I do think you get, a little bit of both here. Now, I understand Brian Kelly's philosophy behind that as well. I think he prefers to keep Jaden Daniels as a quarterback because he wants a together locker room and everybody rallying behind Jaden Daniels. And cannot say this enough from both a perspective on Jaden Daniels and Garrett Nussmeier. Both of them have really good intangibles. And both of them are really off the charts in both of that. I will say something yesterday that I shared on the Patreon a little bit earlier. This was described talking to two different people close to Garrett Nussmeier, that he is a very strong-willed and sometimes very stubborn guy. He is very committed to wherever he's playing at the time. Remember his final high school game. He was having one of the best senior seasons of any LSU quarterback recruit ever. He broke his thumb or fractured his thumb, and he couldn't play, and his team lost, right? And leading into that game, they were undefeated, and his completion percentage was the highest of any LSU high school senior quarterback ever. That's how good of a year he was having. And, it tore him up. And obviously, I look at someone like Garrett Nussmeier, and what I'll say is, yes, the turnover issues are a big deal. And yes, there is a long way to go for him as a starter. But you don't know what he is as a starter unless you at least see it. Something else is, one thing I do like about Garrett Nussmeier is this is a guy who's been told over the past 2 years that you are not a factor in this quarterback race. There is a little Jeray Jenkins aspect to that, right? Because for the last 3 years, Jeray Jenkins wasn't hyped up as a top 3 receiver on the team. And all he did was finish top 3 in yards every year and top 2 in average yards per catch in all 3 of our last seasons, which is pretty daggum impressive if you ask me. Garrett Nussmeier's in the same spot. Walker Howard's coming in. He's a guy. He's the future. Then Miles Brennan comes back. You're going to sit behind Miles Brennan. You have no chance of starting. Then after that, Jaden Daniels comes in. Garrett Nussmeier is a lock to transfer. You guys heard the narratives. Guys can go back to my live streams. I thought that too. I was like, wow, Nuss isn't, he's obviously got some talent. He's got some tape. There's going to be a bunch of interested parties. And all this guy did was, really outperform everybody in the spring game. And then, just in general, especially considering where he started. But based on information that I received from, some closed door scrimmages and some open scrimmages, Jaden Daniels was ultimately the better quarterback in practice. And Garrett Nussmeier would have a tendency to commit turnovers in some of the practice scheduled events. But once again, I go back to it. If you were just to look at the quarterbacks running the drills and just look based on an eye test, Garrett Nussmeier would be the best thrower of all four of the quarterbacks. That might change with Ricky Collins coming in because he does look like a Division I Power 5 quarterback, but he has no chance of really moving up the ladder this next year, unless, of course, injuries or transfers happen. So, yeah, there's a lot of flaws with Garrett Nussmeier's game, but there's also a ceiling there that just cannot be denied as well. This is a good question here. Follow up here from Bruce. Does BK value a 10-win season or QB playing time? 10 does seem to be a significant number. It does look better. It does give you better perception. It also prevents you ending the season on a 3-game losing streak. And if you do believe as a coach that matters, start who you think gives you the best chance to win the game. And, obviously let's just say Brian Kelly woke up tomorrow and said, you know what? I listened to Max yesterday on the live stream. I would like to see Garrett Nussmeier get the opportunity to start a game. Well, what I would say, just playing devil's advocate there, once again, this comes from someone that would like to see Garrett Nussmeier get an opportunity to start. My retort to that would be, once again, Jaden Daniels' floor is higher as a starter, right? Yes, he had one miserable game versus Arkansas, but he had the flu, okay? Doesn't excuse how bad he was in that game, being honest. And knowing what I've heard about Jaden, he doesn't like excuses at all. I wouldn't be surprised if he hated the fact that he had the flu, what actually came out after the fact. But, Jaden Daniels is not going to lose you a game. Garrett Nussmeier can, with some of these turnovers that he has a tendency to commit. But then again, he's still very young, right? And, Jaden has an infinite amount of snaps over Garrett Nussmeier. Okay. What's the news on John Emery for next season? I don't know, Bruce. It's very interesting. There's not a whole lot of NFL buzz about him, Bruce. The thing that kind of stinks for John, if he wanted to go to the NFL, is I actually do believe this running back class is really good. He would have to go the UDFA route anyway, so he's got an uphill climb. I think he would lean towards going pro. This is year 4 for him. The biological clock for year 5 running backs don't oftentimes equate to a long NFL career. So yeah, I would lean towards him leaving. It is clear this year that while John, gave us some real pop, the Alabama game touchdown was really good. Josh was our best running back, and he's going to be our guy next year. And I think that's with good reason. Okay. But what I will also say about John's performance this year is it was better. Like, you can't go back and say that John Emery was a flat out bust, right? Before the season, you could make that case. Now you can't. He was great for us in some really, really, really big spots. And that was also something about him, is that he didn't ever really have a crunch time play before this year. He made a lot of big plays for us in big games this year. So, I would like John Emery to come back. Obviously, it makes our running back room deeper, it makes our running back room better. But, at the same time, I think he would also say, look, I'm a former 5-star. I know a team is going to take a chance on me in a training camp, and let me see what I can do. But I'm telling you, this running back class is really good, right? In fact, the best running back we played this year, Jahmyr Gibbs. But the best running back we played this year was probably Quinshon Judkins, and he's not even eligible. Just on our schedule alone, we know for certain that Zach Evans is way higher than John Emery. Jahmyr Gibbs is way higher than John Emery. Rocket Sanders, if he wanted to come out, would be way higher than John Emery. How about this name? Dwayne McBride of UAB would be way higher than John Emery just on our schedule, right? I don't even know if John has draft grades. But honestly, I do think Bruce, he will consider going to the NFL, and I would think that leaning towards the NFL is where he'd like to go. Even though there's not a whole lot of tape, there is some tape, enough for a team to take a chance on him. But yeah. Let's see. And we got to win this one. We haven't been doing too hot in the bowl games. Let's see. I'd beg to differ. So obviously last year we had a wide receiver playing quarterback. Well, what can you really say about that? Obviously, I would like to play Kansas State again. But I think Alabama's going to take good care of him. I actually turned down. I've been to I think 15 Sugar Bowls. This is the first time I've gotten offered to go and I didn't go. I always go with my dad, but I'm choosing to stay at home to cover our bowl game a little bit closer. But yeah, I would like to play Kansas State, but they beat us down pretty bad last year. So what? Once again, we had a wide receiver playing quarterback. Number 2, 2020, no bowl game. 2019, our best bowl performances ever, obviously. 2018, one of our best bowl performances. So you got to go all the way back to 2017. That was in the Notre Dame game. So, yeah, I mean, our bowls have been fine. Like, obviously, 2020 not making it. I mean, we actually did make it, but we, imposed a bowl ban. Yeah, I mean, sure, I think we would all like to win the bowl game. But it is a little bit different, Joshua, in that I'm a believer. So just for reference here, this morning I was doing radio in South Carolina, right? And you guys know who my favorite guest is, Blake Ruffino. It's one of my best friends, AYS. I'll be on there tomorrow night. I know I normally do my Monday night spot there. He didn't do a show yesterday, Christmas holiday. So tomorrow I'll be on AYS, okay? And Blake's one of my best friends. We talk every day. We actually got into it a little bit this morning on the radio. It wasn't too visceral. I'm not gonna lie, it was very early. But he called bowl games glorified scrimmages, which they kind of are, but they kind of aren't. But what really infuriated me today is Danny freaking Cannell. I want to one day agree with one of his takes, but this guy is special, right? He is truly special in one aspect. He is the Michael Jordan of wrong college football takes. This guy's tweeting out, I believe you should have 8 wins to make a bowl. Really? So then what's the freaking point of Vanderbilt playing, right? They're never going to get to 8 wins. People, if you don't want to watch bowls, don't freaking watch them. It is perfectly fine. We will be just happy watching the bowl games on our own. I'm looking at you, Joe Schmo, that likes to crap on all the bowl games, okay? Stop it. Freaking stop it. Enjoy the freaking bowl games, okay? Enjoy them, okay? We're not looking for Chiefs Bills when I watch New Mexico State and Bowling Green. Heck, half the country doesn't know where Bowling Green is located. Why are we worried about them having 8 wins? Okay? Stop it. Stop it. Okay. Type Y for yes, type N for no. Oh, you don't care about bowl games. Type Y for yes, type N for no. You do not care for all these bowl games. I see Blanche in here. What's up, man? Oh, come on, Max. Come on, Max. You do not care about bowl games. Type Y for yes, type N for no. So Salazar says, yes, I do care. He does care. LSU 6-4. And what's up, Grant? Okay. So type Y if you like all the bowl games. I'm sorry, I wasn't clear right there. Type Y if you like all the bowl games. Type N if you think there are too many. Okay. Florida's worst hack comedian. Oh, great. Great. That's just in freaking insane. I know. I asked it with the negative again. I like the bowling. Charles, Laura. Yes, 8 games as a threshold is wild, but 5 and 7 Rice going bowling is sheer madness by any means. Okay. I agree with that. I think you should go at least 6 and 6. Okay? I believe you should. But what I will say for the people that say, look, you shouldn't have a 6 and 6 team getting into a bowl game. Okay? Number one, that doesn't account for scale, right? Missouri going 6 and 6 is different than Wake Forest going 6 and 6, right? They played each other in the bowl game. Wake Forest won, but it was a competitive game, right? But look, I think for me, when I look at the bowl games just in general, I like the fact that let me look at this. I like the fact that we have all these bowls for this reason. It is not a postseason tournament. It is a postseason game. Huge difference, right? We normally think of postseason as making the playoffs, but that is not what's happening here. These are one-off bowl games for college football players who never get to travel. Think about it this way. College football players only play 12 games. It's a year-round sport. You work out, get up at 5 in the morning. And the bowl games not only give you an extra game, they give you 15 extra practices. So those 15 extra practices you get to spend with your brothers that you'll never see again for a lot of those people. And you get to, once again, travel. What people forget about college football is it is the one sport that we have in our society that has no preseason. It is the one sport in our society that rarely plays outside the friendly confines of their practice facilities. And it's also not a predetermined location. So you get to travel somewhere exotic. Some people get to go to the Bahamas for a small bowl. Some people get to go to Birmingham. Obviously a difference, but still, you get the opportunity to travel. You get the opportunity to get a bunch of free swag. You get the opportunity for the entire country to watch you, right? Someone, Grant mentioned a minute ago, Air Force and Baylor was a crappy game. And I'm sure the Baylor coaches would have rather fully focused on the early signing period. But it was still a game, and we got to watch it. How many times have you watched Baylor and Air Force this year? It's good for the teams, good for the players. I don't get this 8-game nonsense. No one is basing the bowls off of merit. It is more so just a game that the players get to enjoy. No one is viewing the Gasparilla Bowl as a like a wild card weekend, right? It's not that. There's and there's differences, right? The players know that if you play in the Sugar Bowl, in New Orleans, in the Superdome, historic venue, historic bowl, everybody knows what the Sugar Bowl is. If you're playing the Rose Bowl and the Pasadena and Rose Bowl parade, all that stuff, you know it's a big deal, right? Like players aren't going into, whichever bowl there is, the Tax Slayer Bowl or Duke's Mayo Bowl. No one's going into that thinking that it's, a national championship game. They're going into it to have fun. They know if they win, their coach gets dumped in mayo. It's good. It's good. Right? And think about it this way. Okay. Good point here by Jason. Jontre Kirkland is a folk hero, right? Like, there's not a single LSU fan that will ever forget Jontre Kirkland's performance in the bowl game. That was a good opportunity for him. 6-year guy, 3-star recruit, played every position under the sun, and this was a guy who was a big-time special teamer for us over the years. And honestly, Jontre Kirkland was only going to be remembered as a spring game hero, right? But that extra, game allowed him to play, right? And something else that we can credit to Jontre Kirkland is his performance in the game further advanced the sport of college football to where the 5th game for a true freshman or just anybody's redshirt doesn't count against you in the bowl game. So while Jontre Kirkland performed admirably for a wide receiver playing quarterback, the Bowls said, look, NCAA, don't count it against you because we don't want people turning off the game, okay? So while us LSU fans liked it, obviously there were some people disgruntled about it and said, look, allow true freshmen to play 5th game or just people in general play 5th game and it not account against you. So the bottom line is just let the kids play. That's all there is, okay? Now, we go to the poll question tonight. Who is your favorite non-Burrow, non-Jayden QB of the post-2010 era? And Zach Mettenberger is currently winning the poll. Now, if you voted other, I'm interested who your other would be. Would it be Miles Brennan? Would it be Garrett Nussmeier? Who would it be? I'm very interested in knowing, right? Let's go to Blanche, and he actually does have receipts on this. Like he has been saying this for a while. I know the second part he's, hyperbolizing here, but the first part is Blanche has always been a Jontre Kirkland fan, and this was pre-bowl, pre him saving Kayshawn from the Deshaun Jackson touchback embarrassment. Jontre was always a heads-up player. His football IQ was always off the charts. The only thing for Jontre Kirkland was he did drop that fake punt dime from Avery Atkins. That was the one time I was like, Jontre, you've got good hands. Catch it. But, yeah, other than that, I do love me some Jontre Kirkland. I really, really, really do. Let me see here. I'm looking up this Jontre Kirkland. Actually, I'm texting somebody. I want to see if Jontre would want to come on right now. I don't know I don't know if he would text back. Here we go. Now, here's the good news. Okay. 30 minutes into this. Kind of sad my guy Simper's not in here. I don't know where Simper is. Okay. Now, before we get back into more Jontre Kirkland chatter, what's Jontre doing now? If he isn't playing, he should be coaching. Okay. We're Jordan Jefferson Pro channel. I know a lot of people were saying about Jordan Jefferson. Well, I hate that the transfer defensive tackle is also named Jordan Jefferson, and everybody cringes when they see Jordan Jefferson? And my answer to that is why. Like, Jordan Jefferson is still better than quite a few quarterbacks who suited up for us. He won us a lot of games. His mentorship and being on the team helped Justin Jefferson, right? Because Justin and Ricky were around LSU, and Ricky was a really good player for us as well. We are a pro Jordan Jefferson channel. Now, I knew Jordan okay in college. I talked to him on occasion, seldomly, and he was fine. He was fine to me. Jordan Jefferson won us a lot of football games. Now, we can contextualize it. Is he in the Zach Bentenberger, Jamarcus Russell tier, Matt Flynn tier? No. But he's still a good quarterback. It was a fine quarterback. I think we can agree on that. But yeah. Now, Skipper, you're a little early. Okay. You guys know the Presley is a little bit later. I'm a big Rohan Davey fan as well. I got one of his rare rookie cards somewhere sitting here. It's actually in my my box where it's in my not for sale box. Now, what I would like to share with you is this. Go to powerhourlsu.com, get your new merch. Tony the Tiger, his profile photo right now is him in his PHL hoodie, okay? What really moved me this weekend was, and it was kind of weird because Tariq Woolen, one of my favorite players in the NFL, the 5th-round DB, he was one of the 2 rookie Pro Bowlers with Sauce Gardner. He tweeted out something like how cool it was to see his jersey be given as Christmas gifts. For me, one of the coolest things, shout out Branson Cat, he asked his folks that he wanted PHL gear for Christmas. That was really cool. Obviously, Branson's one of our smartest viewers, and I really do like Branson just as a person. One of the coolest moments of my career was Branson interviewed me for a classroom project, which I thought was pretty cool. That's something I never gotten to do. So there you go. So go to powerhourlsu.com /merch. All you got to do is click the shop button, and there you go. Get you some PHL merch. And I am proud to share that the PHL hats are in, and they are for sale. All you got to do is hit me up, okay? powerhourlsu.com powerhourlsu@gmail.com is where you can hit me up, or you can shoot me a Twitter DM at Carter the Power or at powerhourlsu. And this is the honest truth. There are only 48 of these hats. That's it. That's all I have. I am not going through this process again. Hats are a little bit different, and I like the way this one felt, and I like the way that they designed this hat. So the person that initially designed it is actually a PHL viewer. So if you want a PHL hat, once these sell, I probably won't. I really do mean it. As you guys know, there's delays in the process and all of that. I probably won't restock, if you will. So there you go. Still like Brandon Harris coming off the bench against Mississippi State. Fought to the end. Brandon Harris is a good guy, right? I also think this is true. Whether you are a big Jamarcus Russell critic or a Jordan Jefferson critic, I do believe, and I know he became worse at Kansas and all of that. I do believe the Les Miles thing is a thing, right? It's pretty clear now that the sport has evolved, and we as a society can look past just 10-win seasons and did you win the game or lose the game. We are a more process-oriented society, and we can realize that Les Miles, I understand he is a disgrace coach for all the off-field stuff that happened, but the truth is he wasn't that great of a football coach. Now, did he win a lot of games? Yes. Did he recruit really well? Yes. But every coach since Les Miles has won a lot of games. Every coach since Les Miles has recruited really well. Okay? He was not a good X's and O's guy. The meetings at times were disheveled. The Alabama game plans were horrendous. Um, he wasn't a great coach. So if you don't have a great head coach, who does it affect the most? Well, it affects your quarterback the most, right? Um, you see it in the NFL. If your head coach isn't great, it affects your quarterback in a major way. So, I know we don't just give all the quarterbacks a pass. We shouldn't do that. But at the same time, you kind of have to add context to the situations. I understand that quarterback is a tough thing to predict. It is a tough thing to evaluate. But how come every four-star quarterback was terrible, right? It's virtually impossible it couldn't have just been the all those guys just sucking, right? It's hard to believe that. Some of it is the coaching. So, I know we make a lot of jokes about, the quarterbacks that didn't work out, from Brandon Harris to Andrew Hatch, but context is very important. Okay. Jarrett Lee, I knew Jarrett Lee in college. We lived in the same apartment complex. Really nice guy. Okay. Dev says, I love Jaden, but he limits a passing game. If we had Zach Mittenberger or Jarrett Lee or maybe even Etling, we would have won a championship with Leonard Fournette. No, I don't think so for this reason, right? Was Anthony Jennings not great? No. Were we missing a quarterback? Yes. Did we have a lot of championship pieces? Yes. We had Jamal Adams all the Fournette years. We had Dante Jackson for 2 of the Fournette years. We had Darius Geis for 2 of the Fournette years. We had a young Maya Tuema for that first Leonard Fournette year. We had a lot of talent, right? Ethan Posick, Trey White, all mixed in there, right? The Alabama game plans were so bad that we wouldn't have beaten them. We just wouldn't have. Obviously, Met almost beat them, and we played them better at home than we did on the road those years. But I just don't know. Like, our play calling and game management was so meh. Max says less was still better than O. That's tough. Obviously, Les did it longer from 05 to where he was now, but Les in the early years didn't have to play prime Saban. So, yeah, I mean, it is very interesting once you put it that way. So, yeah, I think you would have to say Les had a better career. Obviously, the final Les years weren't as bad as the final O years, in my estimation. But yes, both, really fell off after winning that first national championship. And it's not that I, personally, obviously I don't agree with everything Les, did off the field, but, I don't like there'll always be national championship coaches at LSU. It's just when you list the greatest coaches of all time, just because those two have national championships, you still got to put guys like Bill Snyder, Mike Leach, and a lot of different guys ahead of them as just overall better coaches that, oftentimes overachieved with the hand that they were dealt. And look, we see now what, Brian Kelly has been able to do. And Brian Kelly is one of the best coaches in the history of the sport. And we've seen what a button-up coach like him could do here. Now, obviously, there's going to be so much pressure on him to win a national championship. Will he do that or will he not? I think most of us agree he probably will if some luck, goes his way. But I feel really good about the future with him. Okay. Now, let's go to DeMarcus Carter. Can Brian Kelly finally use a 3 QB situation to a two QB situation, and basically Walker Howard as a mop up guy. No, I mean Brian Kelly explicitly, even though at Notre Dame he played, he had a lot of 2B quarterback situations. He said pretty definitively after last year's spring game that he is not a fan of it, and I don't think many coaches are. So I don't think you'll get a two quarterback situation here. I really don't. So I know some of you would be interested in that, but I don't think that you'll see that. Okay, good to see you again. Charlie, the XRP master. Yeah, Rohan still holds the record. I think it's actually like 500 something. It's truly ridiculous. All-time stuff right there. Now, if you're just now joining us, PHL hats, get to it now. Okay? Now, let's update the poll question here. Who's your favorite non-Burrow, non-Jaden QB of the post-2010 era? Zach Mettenberger wins this poll in a landslide. TJ with the super chat. Thank you so much, TJ. You get to pick the next topic, okay? Now, what if I told you, all right? What if I told you, I want to talk about this from Bruce. Thank you for your generosity earlier, Bruce. What if I told you, okay, that Zach Mettenberger coaches for Alabama now? Does that change your opinion of him? Do you want to change your vote? Okay. Uh-oh. 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 Oh, no. Guys, brace yourself. Ladies and gentlemen, hide your kids, hide your wife. You know it's about to go mother effing down because the master Blaster is here. What's up, Tony? Good to see you. Jason, John W. Butler, Jefferson ranked 6th all-time in LSU wins list by starting quarterback. Is 24-8 as a starter. Where do you figure he won more than any previous LSU quarterback? Burrow won 25 games, by the way. Yeah, Jefferson won a lot of games, but is he up there with the elites of the elites? I don't know. One thing I found to be very interesting, and I kind of forgot this. So, TJ, whichever topic you want to get to, we'll get straight to it. All right. So I'm glad Rico had this comment here. Carter, do you remember when Harris came in against Mississippi State as a freshman? The passing game was never better. Everyone wanted him to start. Then what happened? Learn from history with the NUSSMEIER writers. Okay. Obviously, not all quarterbacks are the same, and everybody's situation is different. Also, Brandon Harris was quite honestly ruined by the situation because he had to play as a true freshman when he was obviously very, very, very raw. That Auburn game ruined him. I 38 yards. I mean, it was so bad. And Les and Cam aren't the quarterback coaches that BK and Sloan are. Now, is BK like Lincoln Riley level reputation? No, but he's better than what Brandon Harris had to deal with, right? So I do think this is very interesting, Rico, and I want to include just one thing. All right, because I was just watching this the other day. Van as my witness. I don't think Van's in here now. I'm going to text him, see if he wants to jump on here. So it was 1 a.m. on Christmas Eve. Okay. So Christmas Day was 1 a.m. And, my dad and I spent a lot of time on Christmas, and we exchanged like LSU gifts and all of that. And I was like, what my first LSU home game ever was the Oregon State game. And one thing that just was completely erased from my memory is how good Jamarcus Russell was for us when he stepped in the game. Now, he was 9 for 27, but it was rainy. He was in a fill-in role for one of the earliest games on our schedule in a pressure situation. And, he was a second-year player, but still, that was crazy that he had to come in and find a way to win that game for us. And, I think about that. Like, it's like, yeah, Garrett Nussmeier had, and I don't think Garrett Nussmeier will be like Jamarcus Russell good, because Jamarcus was a beast. But Garrett Nussmeier had some poor outings as a true freshman, the Arkansas game in particular. But he was a true freshman, right? And it's just like, God, when you're not expected to play, and then now you have to play, it could be tough, right? And I just go back to this kid's willingness to fight for the role this offseason, when everyone under the sun would have fully been okay with him transferring. And that alone has shown me that Nuss is a very strong-willed guy. Now, will the turnover issue ever get fixed? I mean, we won't know that until he actually plays. But what we do know is the vertical aspect of his game is really, really, really good. So there you go. I'm trying to make sure I don't miss TJ's question. Thank you so much, TJ, with your very generous super chat. TJ is a patron. So once again, if you join our patreon.com/LSU football, you'll see my conversation with somebody close to Garrett Nussmeier, a few details from that. You'll also see my scatter report on the 4 transfer portal defensive linemen. There is a lot to learn from, people that really know what's going on. And I shared a few things, not anything like truly revolutionary, but I think some things that would, open your eyes, right? Let's go to Jason while TJ gets his question ready. Jason, of course, is also a friend of mine that him and John Sibley in particular, I've gotten to know quite a bit since the game. I was at that Oregon State game. Everyone complains about Nuss throwing into double coverage, but would they hold the same energy if Daniels did? I think so. And the thing is, Jason, is that he doesn't. And that's honestly the biggest attribute of Jaden Daniels' game. Obviously, the leadership, toughness, he plays, every game. He doesn't miss action. But, we don't know if Jaden Daniels will ever throw in double coverage, because he just doesn't. That's just not his MO. And that's honestly the biggest difference, right? I think, Garrett Nussmeier is willing to fit the football into tight spaces. I do believe, honestly, and it was a little bit different. I've seen a lot of quarterbacks try the whole shot touchdown to Malik, and they don't get it versus Georgia's defense. If you actually go back, Kentucky actually tried to do this versus Georgia. They tried to hit the cover 2 whole shot touchdown, and they couldn't. They threw a pick. And honestly, Georgia didn't have the play poorly covered. It took an absolute insane throw, and that was quite honestly one of the best throws I've ever seen an LSU quarterback make. It honestly reminded me of some of the Jamarcus Russell touchdowns that truly, like, the arm strength was truly good. Now, Nuss doesn't have that arm. I don't think anybody will ever have that arm. And Will Levis has a cannon, right? And obviously it was different. They were in the red zone, so the field was compressed. Kentucky, when he threw the whole shot pick, that is a tough throw. That is a big boy throw. And, that is one thing I could objectively say that Jaden wouldn't make that throw. Now, it is a high risk throw, but when you play, some of these big games, you got to hit some of these deeper shots. Now, Jaden did in the fourth quarter versus Alabama when we really needed to. But there were a few other opportunities in that game early on where Jaden could have hit a few shots. So it is very, very, very interesting. But yeah, Jason, to answer your question, yeah, I think if Jaden did start turning the football over more, obviously the Texas A&M turnovers, the obviously the fumble was really, really, really bad. And look, he had the drops that he had to deal with early in the game. Yeah, I mean, I think that they would, but the good thing about Jaden is that he doesn't, right? He doesn't turn the football over. Cover two back shoulder, only receiver could get it. Yeah, I mean, God, I go back and look at the Jefferson Oklahoma game highlights just to make me happy. Sometimes when I'm down, I'll go look at that game or I'll go look at Tyrann Mathieu highlights, and I'm like, this makes me very happy. It really, really, really does. And yeah, pretty freaking excited about that. Wait, you sing The Party Next Door? Great name. Garrett Lee is just catching strays tonight. Garrett Lee's like, look, my most famous moment is of a game that I didn't play. I mean, and I'm still catching strays. I love it. I'm trying to get the Ray Parker thing. What song is that? The Party Next Door? Oh, no, no, no. Okay. No. The name of the song? Or Ray Parker's the name of a singer? Greatest R&B singers of all time. You guys don't know music. Like I'm not a music knowledge guy, and I used to do an R&B show. I guess I should know who Ray Parker is. I guess I got to listen to some music. I see. Ray Parker, singer. Oh, he's saying Ghostbusters. Who are you gonna call? Ray Eskrin Parker. I like it. I like it. Hey, what up, boy? Huh? T's in this thing. Let's go. I love me some Tyler. Tyler's become one of my top dogs, man. I love talking to him in the Patreon. He's one of those guys, like many of you, you work these like night shift jobs and you have me on in the background. Man, it's tough for all the hardworking men and women of PHL. I know Julie works crazy hours as well. I want to say thank you guys for having me be your escape. I'm always here for you. Let's go. You guys know Tuesday nights is where it's at, baby. Let's get so, baby. Honestly, the Auburn game on the road was where I think he was like at his absolute clutches. Okay. Skipper, stop. Y'all are jumping in early. Y'all are trying to move up the totem pole so you can get some pearls. I get it. I totally get it. Okay. What up, normal guy? Good to see you. Yeah, I think total touchdowns. You would like to have seen him throw more. I agree with that. But I always am skeptical of just total stats. Like, I am more of a per game statistic guy. And if you exclude, passing, if you just, bring up his passing touchdowns, you got to include the rushing touchdowns as well, which, you had a lot of them this year for us. So, yeah. Tyrus Bartholomew. Welcome to PHL. Everybody, welcome Tyrus Bartholomew. Everybody show Tyrus some love. Love this photo. Bryant Park. That's great. Lovely selfie right here. Got the Christmas spirit going. Red frame glasses. Good to see you, Tyrus. Now I got this one. Who you gonna call? Ghostbusters. True story. I don't remember the last time I watched the full Ghostbusters. I watched the remake with who is it? I almost said Leslie. It was Leslie McCarthy, Leslie Jones, Melissa McCarthy, somebody else. So yeah, I guess it's been a while since I've seen Ghostbusters. Johns, I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. I'm enjoying you being here, man. Thank you for being a part of PHL. Okay. Everybody say hi to Tyrus. Big Al, good to see you. This is always this is always to me a narrative that is true. A lot of these narratives get caught, in the weeds, but the Ryan Perrilloux narrative is quite literally just true. But I don't want to get into a Perrilloux conversation. We've done plenty of times. I've shared, my Ryan Perrilloux stories here, but yeah, we can have a different discussion about Perrilloux. Now, if you want to talk about him, feel free to super chat. I'm going to talk more about the current team. Obviously, the question from earlier was just to, get the poll questions going. Now, let's go to TJP. Do you think LSU is going to have a problem at cornerback next year? Okay. Obviously, not getting Desmond Rick sucks. I think he, 5-star corners normally are ready for year one. Sucks that you don't get him. Okay. He goes to Alabama. Will he come back through the portal? I don't know, kind of like what Denver Harris did. I don't know, but I know he's going to be at Alabama next year. Not worried about it. Obviously, I said what I said earlier about Denver Harris. Okay. I think the world of Denver Harris. I think he can really play. So now let's figure out who your other corner is going to be. Okay. Obviously, Sevyn Banks is an interesting decision to make. What if he plays in the bowl game and just balls out of control? Then, would he just make the jump? Maybe. And then after that, it gets interesting, right? You have LaTerrence Welsh winning in the wing. You also have 3 interesting corner prospects coming in. Dalen Austin decides to flip to Oregon. That was expected. But you have Ashton Stamps. You have Jeremiah Hughes, both 3 stars coming in. And you also have a 5-star in Javian Toviano, 4-star composite player, top 150. Okay. So what gets very interesting about that TJP is you then have to ask yourself this question, and it is a spicy one. do you trust a corner from the FCS level? Obviously, Colby Richardson had some ups. He also had some downs this year. Darren Evans from the year before coming over from Nichols. So you had a corner from Nichols last year. This last year, you had a corner from McNeese. And now you have, oh, look at this. Carver's coming in. You have a 6'3" corner coming in from Southeastern. So basically, next year, we'll have a corner from Southern transfer. LSU is going to get a corner every year from the FCS level. You then get into this. What if Zy Alexander is the answer? What if for the second straight year, your answer at corner is 2 transfers yet again? Okay. Zy Alexander could very well be legit. His one-handed interception is truly insane. Okay. He's got some length, which is obviously something that we all covet from the cornerback position. So I do think this could be a very interesting situation for Brian Kelly. Do you want to roll next year the dice with a FCS corner, right? Colby Richardson was hyped up for quite some bit during the preseason, and he was fine. He honestly was fine as a backup corner. Yeah, so I think I think of every player that gets the opportunity to play for the Dream School, play for DBU. Every defensive back thinks of DBU. So there you go. Michael B, good to see you. I hope you're feeling better. TJP, thank you so much for your super chat. I really appreciate you. Everybody make TJP feel welcome. And of course, by far one of the most generous people on the channel, the great John Sibley Butler. If there was a poll done for all LSU fans, which starting quarterback would they choose? Could JD start for Georgia or Bama next year? If negative, should he just prepare for the pros and quit? Okay. So we'll do it. John said we want a poll. So I'll do a poll. There we go. I'm sure we'll have this poll question quite a bit. Ed, thank you for the super chat. Good to see you. All right. John Sibley, your poll is up. Thank you. Top super chatter of the night, John Sibley Butler. Thank you so much, Ed. I think y'all showing some love for TJP. Good to see you. So the poll is up. We'll see what the poll questions say here in just a second. Could JD start for Georgia or Bama next year? That's interesting. Would he be the starter for those two teams? I do think Jaden is a better quarterback than anybody Alabama has right now. I do. I think, he is a more sure thing. Obviously, Ty Simpson can really play, apparently, 5-star quarterback. He's got to beat out Jalen Milroe, who is a very similar quarterback to Jaden, an elite runner. Milroe is truly elite as a runner, but as a thrower, still not quite there. Georgia, I'm interested to see what the post-Stetson Bennett Georgia Bulldogs will look like, because obviously Stetson has been phenomenal for them, especially in big games, the big games versus LSU, Oregon, and he was fine versus Tennessee. So, yeah, I think he could start. I don't know if either one of those teams, though, would take Jaden over what they have returning to their quarterback room. If negative, and I'm guessing you're saying, should Jaden just go prepare for the pros and quit? If I guess if you're saying if he loses the starting job next year, okay. For me, I go back to this, and Ed, you get to pick the next topic. Feel free to go right on ahead. I do agree. I'm a big RP guy. Um, because his cousin was my roommate and still my friend to this day, as we've shared on here before. Hate that Ryan didn't work out, but I honestly think he would have won a lot of games for us, right? Because he would have had his receivers would have been what, like Terrence Tolliver. Um, who else was in that receiver room post championship year? There's a few other talented ones, but Terrence Tolliver was obviously a really good player. Um, but yeah, I think for Jaden, obviously, he's going to get great NIL money, coming back to LSU. It was interesting to me, and I will include this. It was interesting to me that Jaden did not get the Cheez-Its thing, right? Because you would think Cheez-It would rather have the starting quarterback for LSU get the bowl sponsorship here, but they went with Garrett. I thought that was very interesting. I think some of that is due to Jaden's injury, and maybe he plays, maybe he doesn't. But I was happy to see, just any LSU player. I don't care if it's Jaden. I don't care if it's Bryce Langston. I don't care, as long as some of these players are getting some cheddar. I had to do the joke again. I think that's really good, right? But for Jaden, I think when you're the quarterback for LSU, you're one of the biggest celebrities in the state of Louisiana, and there's something to that, right? Also, Jaden knows if he comes back to LSU, he will play. If he goes to the NFL, he might not get a chance to play a game ever again, right? There's no guarantee that he's ever going to get to be a starter. Obviously, you play in the preseason some. So yeah. So Ed, thank you so much. There you go. So Ed wants to talk about the NIL deal. I do think it's really good for Garrett, right? I'm glad he got something because he played admirably versus Georgia, and I think it's always good if a backup gets paid, right? Obviously, Garrett isn't in a position where obviously his dad is one of the most successful assistant coaches, over the past few decades, right? Um, so it's not like he's struggling, but I'm happy he was compensated for playing. I'm always happy for any player when they're getting compensated. Rico, thank you so much. So we're gonna do a Burrow comparison here. Don't anybody freak out. Like I always say, every LSU quarterback that will ever breathe will be compared to Burrow, and I think it's a little bit different because, like, Bryce Young was elite, like straight out for Alabama. Burrow had this just insane jump. Okay, so here, let's read the super chat here. Burrow, 18 to 19 completion percentage, 57.8, 19 to 20, 76.3. Is improvement in accuracy exclusive to Burrow? JD5 gets a better line, better tight end, and same wide receivers. He will do better. Trust in Kelly. Okay. Let's start from back to front here. Trusting Kelly, I do believe in that. Okay. Obviously, I trust Brian Kelly wholeheartedly. He obviously was phenomenal. He's one of the best coaches in the sport previous to LSU, and he's one of the best coaches in the country with what he did with our team. Jaden will do better. I agree. There will be some improvement. To what extent, we'll see. Okay. JD5 gets a better line, better tight end, and same wide receivers. Okay. Same wide receivers is a little bold. Now, that is not a knock on Kayshawn. That is not a knock on BTJ. That is not a knock on Malik. It's just that Jordan Jefferson and Jamar Chase are two of the top 5 receivers, period, breathing, that are warm-blooded mammals that have ever played the game, honestly, early in their careers. Honestly, go watch Justin Jefferson this year and tell me how many non-Randy Moss, non-Jerry Rice, guys are you taking over the way Jefferson has peaked through this past couple of years? Maybe Tyreek Hill, maybe. So JD5 and the same wide receivers is a little bold in my estimation. Once again, that's not a knock on Malik. That's not a knock on Kayshawn. Those guys are superhuman and probably will both be first round picks. And BTJ has a lot of Terrace Marshall qualities. So I get what you're saying with same wide receivers. Better tight end. Thaddeus Moss is a really good football player. Now it's not worked out in the NFL for him, but we'll see. JD5 gets a better line. Slight. That's tough. That's tough. Once again, Burrow's offensive line wasn't, transcendent by any stretch of the imagination, but Cushenberry, Lewis, and those guys were solid. Okay, but I get what you're saying. Your overarching point still remains the same, right? You and I don't want to dilute your point. I just wanted to go line by line there. They are similar. Okay. Now we're gonna get back to this. Jared, thank you so much for your super chat. Tyler, thank you so much. John agrees with you, Rico. And I know your point isn't. I know your point isn't necessarily the Burrow comparison, but let's continue here. Okay, I'm talking players around Jayden this year versus next year. Okay. Oh, okay. My bad. I'm sorry. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry about that. Right. I thought you were. I'm really sorry. Okay. I thought you were comparing Burrow to the. I'm really sorry about that. Okay. I think you can see why I was confused. I'm really sorry, Rico. Okay. So for that, I'll start over. Justin Kelly, agree with that. He'll do better. I agree with that. How much better? We'll see. You are right in everything here. JD5 gets a better line, better tight end, and same wide receivers. I thought you were saying that just compared to Burrow. Will Jayden's completion percentage go up? Yes, I think so. 76.3 is obviously very extreme, but it can. Is improvement in accuracy exclusive to Burrow? I think the biggest difference here is that was Joe's full first year of playing, right? Where Jayden has not had a year where he wasn't the guy in forever, maybe ever, right? He was a guy as a true freshman. He was a guy as a true sophomore. He was a guy as a true junior, and now as a true senior. Now he's getting the Rona year here. I think there was a gap, and Burrow brought this up in an interview. I believe it was the Full Send podcast a few months ago, and I obviously agree with a lot of what Joe Burrow has to say. But what I will say is Joe did say one of the biggest challenges in 2018 wasn't necessarily the offense; it was just playing football again, right? Because he had gone through injuries at Ohio State, and he had not played in 4 years' time. So I do think that's part of it, where Jayden has had the best thing a quarterback can have, which is reps. So yes, I do think JD will improve, but what a JD skeptic would say, and a lot of you have said this as well, shouldn't we have seen some vertical passing improvement, right? Let's go take it a stat that is somewhat predictive, not the most predictive passing stat that we have, but let's take something like yards per attempt, right? Yards per pass attempt for Jayden. Now, look, as a true freshman, he did have Brandon Ayuk. Once again, Jared, thank you for his super chat. And Tyler brings this up, right? And I know Tyler's a JD fan. I'm not mad that JD's coming back. I really think he's talented, but he needs some work. Just hope this doesn't burn bridges with Walker and cause him to transfer. Then I'd be mad. Yeah, so Tyler is a huge Walker believer. And some of you are. Some of you think Walker is, better than Cade Klubnik, better than Connor Weidman. If you believe that, those guys are starting at their respective universities now, right? Obviously, their situations are different. The quarterbacks in front of them got hurt or weren't that great. So yeah, I do think, for me, you look at Jayden's yard per attempt numbers, they have gone down, right? I think I'd have to go back and look just to quadruple confirm. I have so much JD data I'm sifting through right now. We got a ton of deep dives that'll be coming in the weeks after the bowl game, when the off season really kicks in before spring ball. Um, I do feel his yard per attempt numbers went down since his Pac-12 true freshman season. So what does that tell us? That he is regressing as a vertical passer. Now, some of that is quarterback coach changes. Some of that is offensive coordinator coach changes. Some of that is going from Brandon Ayuk and Frank Darby to, basically just Ricky Pearsall, who was a really good receiver as a transfer for Florida this year. So, yeah, it just comes down to this, right? I could do 1,000 different film studies on this, and statistical breakdowns. We can get into like accuracy percentage and all these things. The biggest part of Jaden's game that will need to get better is getting the football down the field. And half of the battle is having guys who can get open down the field. And lucky enough for LSU, they have them. So there you go. Now, this is also true from Rico. And this is a good indicator of quarterback play because I do use QBR a lot, right? JD5 has improved his QBR every year he's played. That is an undeniable fact. And this gets into the Jaden Daniels dilemma, okay? And once again, I like Jaden Daniels a lot. I'm very fortunate to get to do this, and, people listen to my opinion on this stuff, which is still crazy to me. But what I'll say about this is I do think, while QBR is my favorite quarterback stat, right? And that stat, of course, is just, focusing on quarterbacks. Now, it's not just quarterbacks, it's everything around you as well. But I do love QBR. It's a simple stat. It's a score from 0 to 100. It does factor in strength of competition. It does factor in EPA per play and all of that. Jaden's QBR numbers are really good. This is true, okay? But when he's quarterback, the yard per play numbers aren't great. They're fine, but they aren't great, right? And that's why you have to factor everything in, okay? QBR is also an efficiency stat. So QBR, if you don't turn the football over, that means you are likely playing efficient football. You're not losing the game, right? His sacks don't go for a lot of yardage. So while he does take a lot of sacks, it doesn't really hurt his QBR all that much. So if you don't turn the football over, if you have good success rate, on scrambles and all of that, that gets you some good analytic points, right? Because a quarterback scramble is an analytically sound play, right? Rushing the football for 15, 20 yards is a big time play, right? And, we can get into, all this different statistical advantages of having a running quarterback. It is without reasonable doubt that Jaden Daniels was the biggest reason why all of our running backs had a huge step forward this year. Frank Wilson deserves a lot of credit for that. Our offensive line getting better deserves a lot of credit for that. So give Brad Davis credit. But historically, truly elite dual threat quarterbacks, go look at Jalen Hurts, go look at a guy like Lamar Jackson, go look at a stat like rush yards over expectation. Historically, running quarterbacks in the NFL truly make the running backs better. It gives you more room for the running backs to operate off zone read and just in general. If the quarterback can run, defensive linemen have to play a little bit more on their heels. Jaden gives you that, right? And that would be an area where you would, start thinking, hey, if Garrett's our quarterback, what happens to our zone read game? Now, Garrett can run some, but I don't think, I think he's more of like a Jackson Dart kind of runner where he's fine, but not great. You don't want to just rely on that. So, yeah, I think, that's a really good point from Rico. And if you go one step further in the analytics, the EPA per play numbers are really good for Jaden as well. If you go look at EPA per play, him and Bryce Young were the same quarterback, which is crazy to think about, which is why you actually got to go watch the games, right? Because you have to factor in the film as well. And obviously, I take pride in, watching a lot of the games and really studying, the game the best I possibly can. And I do think a guy like Jaden Daniels, it does show up on tape that we do see missed throws. We do see it. Okay. I still talk to him pretty frequently, honestly. He is what I like to do, Rob, like if I have a friend like him who's an elite athlete, um, he's training right now. So I don't try and like blow him up. Obviously, uh we do talk quite a bit. It's only just text. We haven't gotten on the phone lately. I would like to. Um, but obviously when this thing really gets going, we're going to need to really support him. And that's what we're going to do on PHL. Right. Because look, I love this man. He's given a lot to the channel, and he's given a lot to me as a friend, including my first personally autographed game worn uniform. So yeah, I'm glad you asked, Rob. I'll send him a screenshot, let him know that you asked about him. And obviously we are Team J Hill all the way, wherever he's going to go. So there you go. Let me see here. Okay. So Jason brings up that his passer rating has decreased, which is true. Rico was more so pointing out the QBR, which has gotten better. So there you go. Something else I will say, okay, and this gets into the stats here, okay. If you're an advanced stat nerd like me, I like to try my best to understand all of it. But before we get to that, let's talk to Michael B. I really hope our running back room takes a step forward this year. I've certainly missed having a dynamic running game. Thoughts about our incoming backs? It's a really good super chat right here. So this goes back to what I said early in the year. Okay, LSU does not have a special back. They don't. Right? I thought that before the year. Okay, now I normally, and obviously I'm biased, I take my evaluations very seriously. Okay. So what I want to do here, and I still have this quote, I still have this quote here from Brian Kelly, and I want you to read this because this does go along with Michael B's super chat here. And I think it will open your eyes just a little bit to what Brian Kelly thought of this this running back room before the year. And thank you so much for asking obviously I don't mind talking quarterbacks, but thank you, Michael B, for asking a non-QB question.
You guys know the situation with John Emery. I really can't get into the specifics of that because of, the Buckley Amendment, but he's certainly a guy that's going to be part of what we do this year. Then Noah Kane, as I mentioned, was really impressed with him today. Amani is a guy that we're going to count on. Williams has been probably as consistent as any back that we've had. And Nick Demas has done a really nice job. So, Leonard Fournette is not in that backfield. I mean, so, we don't have like that marquee guy, if you will, but all of them, complement each other very well. And I think we'll be very effective at that position. And I think each one of them can contribute in a manner that will allow us to be successful at the position.
Oh, that was Brian Kelly telling you before the season that they did not have a Leonard Fournette in the backfield. Okay. Now, what I want to do is share with you something that I'm working on regarding Jaden Daniels. Okay. And I kind of touched on this, briefly. And let me see if I could find this. It might take me a little bit to find this chart. Let's see if I could find it. You can meet me in the trail. I can't find it because I'm unorganized. Or is that it? Let's see it. Is that it? No. Uh-uh. Here we go. Good. This is it right here. Is that it? That's not it. That was the wrong one. All right. Because I want to show you this. Meet me in the trail. It's going down. Type Y for yes, type in for no. Has this been one of your favorite live streams ever? Okay, think about all the epic live streams that we've had. Has this been one of your favorite live streams of all time? The heck? I'm not going to be able to find this thing. I just had it. All right, wasn't that one? It wasn't. Is that it? No. Boom. Okay, this is it right here. Okay. No. No. Yes. Grant says no. We've had some epic ones. I'm a big Caleb Jackson fan. Okay. Everybody welcome Marcus. Everybody welcome Marcus Stewart to the channel. Marcus, bow tie game is magnificent here. If Nuss was a QB, Walker would be the quarterback transferring. Everybody welcome Marcus to the channel. Please, I want to make sure everybody feels awesome, especially if the profile photo is popping like this. Come on, letter avatars. You need to step it up. I mean, look at Marcus. Bow tie game. Looks like it's a warm day out there, so I hope you brought some antiperspirant with the sweater vest on top here. So, yeah. Now, Michael B loves the deep dives, okay? I know he's always been a deep dive guy. There you go. Okay. All right. Now, this one's going to be tough. All right. I'm going to see how many of my diehard PHLers that are out there. Okay. How many of my diehard PHLers are out there? Because you would know the answer to this question. The only thing that I love more than the film studies, okay? The only thing, and I mean, it is truly one of the only things that I think is as transcendent. Boom! Look at this. Look at this. Tony in the new PHL gear. I pulled a switcheroo on you. You thought we were going to get into a deep breakdown? Are you kidding me? So, Pressy Collection and PressyCollection.com. It's pretty simple. We only just had probably the most epic giveaway. Somebody please, please, please find me another LSU, SEC channel, any college football channel that just randomly gave out a Pearl set. Right? Like, for real. And Anthony Starr Presley was like, hey, just give it out. I was like, wait, we need to hype this up. He said, no, surprise someone. I want to wish someone a very Merry Christmas. And it did go down. Big Al was our winner. But whether it be pearls, where I think we sold out actually the $100 pearls. We might still have, a few more left over. DM me. But engagement rings, as you can see, the most important person in my life. I trusted Anthony Starr Presley and the Pressy Collection for getting the job done there. As you guys know, Anthony Starr Presley also gets involved in our conversations on this channel. Anthony Starr Presley and the PressyCollection.com. I really appreciate him. Okay. Michael B was rocking his black hoodie yesterday too. Let's go. Oh, I know, LA mom. She's going to hate it. She doesn't like it when Tony's, I think, Tony, that's your third win. I mean, you're moving up the charts here, Tony. You got some PHL merch. I freaking love it. Okay, Michael B, I want to answer your super chat here. Okay. So, Skipper's mad. You guys are mad at Tony's quick. Tony is quick. Tony is quick. Had to switch it up on you. A lot of you are trying to get it in at the 30-minute mark. A lot of you thought we were doing it at the hour mark, but we had to get it in. Okay, so this chart looks very complicated, and it kind of sort of is, right? So what you're looking at here, this is a chart from a guy by the name of Parker. He is known as Stats of War in the college football analytic community. I'm comfortable saying Parker is probably one of the top 3 analytic minds in college football, and he is a TCU fan. Okay, I use a lot of Parker stats in my work, and this actually is a stat that makes Jaden Daniels look really freaking good. Okay, so I know it's tough to see, but on the x-axis here is yards before contact. Okay, and the y-axis here is yards after contact. And like on any chart such as this, you want to be to the furthest top right, right? If you're in the top right quadrant, that means you had a bunch of perfectly blocked plays and you broke a lot of tackles. So you see to the far right of your screen, UCLA broke a fair amount of tackles, but their running backs had the biggest holes to run through. If you remember our game in 2021, I know that wasn't 2022, but you see what the Chip Kelly scheme did to our rushing defense, okay? But where you truly want to be is high on this chart. And as you can see, out of all the teams in all of college football, only Texas, okay? Now, keep in mind who the Texas Longhorns are this year. The Texas Longhorns, all right, have the best NFL draft running back prospect since, it's been a while, since Saquon Barkley, right? Bijan Robinson very well could be a top 10 pick, even teams knowing the history behind taking running backs that high in the draft. And their backup, Roschon Johnson, is really, really good. Okay, so Bijan Robinson and Roschon Johnson, the best 1-2 backs probably in the country. And you see they broke a lot of tackles with yards after contact. And LSU had a better yards after contact than they did. So what does that tell you? Well, number one, our running backs were ridiculously good this year. So did you think that the running backs just magically became better than Bijan Robinson? No, that's not what happened, right? Josh Williams did have a bunch of ridiculous broke tackles, right? He had the Javon Dexter 50-yard run after throwing the defensive tackle down to the ground, which makes it even more impressive that he did it the first play of the third quarter when Florida's defense wasn't tired. He also had a bunch of really good broken tackles throughout the year. But part of what lends itself to broken tackles is a quarterback who can run. A quarterback who can run has a defense playing on its heels. A quarterback who can run is a defense that has to worry about more different options an offense can do. A quarterback who can run obviously tires out a defense. So our running backs are aided by Jaden Daniels being in the backfield, right? So I feel pretty good about our running back room because we do return Jaden Daniels. And if there is something to be said about Jaden, and a big benefit of having him is that he does make our running game better. Now, our overall yard per carry numbers weren't great, and that needs to get better, okay? But overall, our running backs this year after contact were as good as we've ever had. And that is quite remarkable in a year where I said this, obviously Brian Kelly said this, we did not have a Leonard Fournette in the backfield. Now, am I saying that Josh Williams and John Emery and those guys were better than Leonard Fournette, better than Jeremy Hill? No. That's why I got to actually watch the games. There's more to it than just that. It's just the only way of truly explaining this phenomena here is, yes, our running backs got better. Yes, we got Frank Wilson back. But honestly, the truth is Jaden Daniels makes our runners have more space to operate in the running game. So there you go. There you go. I spoke with Bijan today. Pretty cool. Thanks for the Longhorn shout out, as always. Yeah, Bijan's a beast. And actually, believe it or not, John Sibley, my classmate, Derek Ochoa, was actually shouted out by Bijan not too long ago. He is the director of content for the Texas Longhorns. Derek's a really cool dude. He's an LSU Tiger, by the way. So there you go. JSB, I didn't transfer him to Miles Brennan, my company. So there you go. Yeah, and I think Kev also, had the tragedy, so I kind of stunted his development as a coach. But yes, Frank Wilson is the best running back coach of all time at LSU. So yeah, I think he obviously made our running backs better. I think it's hard to argue that, and it's hard to argue against Josh Williams and those guys just being really freaking good for us this year. So there you go. Thank you for your super chat as well, Michael B. I really appreciate you. Hope you feel better. So there you go. So type Y for yes, type N for no. I want to make sure we're all on the same page. Did you get what the data in the chart was telling you? Type Y for yes if you understood the chart. Type N for no if you did not understand the chart. I will explain it a little bit more simply so all those plots and all that's not in front of your face. And that data was before the SEC championship game, I believe. So yes. Type Y for yes, type N for no if you understood the data on that chart. Because it is hard for me. I think practically it is hard to say that our least hyped running back room ever was the best running back room we've ever had at breaking tackles and getting yards after contact. That is a lot to it's a lot. It's a big conclusion to jump to, right? So yeah. Yeah, the chart's a little fancy, but I had to show it to show you, how good LSU was at breaking tackles, right? So the x-axis of the chart is if you're to the far right of the chart, that means you had a ridiculously high amount of really good holes to run through, really good scheme, good play calling. If you were to the top of the chart, you were really good at your runners are really good at getting yards after initially getting hit. So when you first get contacted, now a lot of those yards are Jaden Daniels yards, but our running backs were better at breaking tackles and getting yards after contact this year. So yeah, that's a very simplified definition of what that was. And that chart were all the teams. So each, logo was representation of where teams were on that chart. And according to Parker's data, once again, I think that was before the Georgia SEC championship game, which I think is actually more reliable data because not everybody plays, obviously the 13th game. We were really good after contact this year. So that means we were tough. That means Jake Flint deserves a lot of credit, Matt Frakes and the nutrition staff. But I do think Jaden is a big reason why. And this comes from, if you play defensive line, you know this. If a quarterback is mobile, your job sucks. It is not fun playing defensive line if the quarterback is mobile. Look, Cam Jordan will tell you. Matt Ryan is a big reason why Cam Jordan is probably going to go into the Hall of Fame. He's torn up Matt Ryan. He is a sackable quarterback. He's a good quarterback, but he's a sackable quarterback. Burton Burns at Alabama. Yeah, he's been pretty great. So yeah, to answer your super chat, Michael B. Let's go back up here to Michael B's super chat. Okay. Let's go to TJ's super chat from earlier. Let me know, TJ. So yeah, let me see. I'm trying to think if I missed your initial question. So TJ, any topic that you want to get to? I know you super chatted, and I was waiting for your question. I don't think I found it because there was a lot of comments flying in. And Michael B at a super chat as well. So TJ, if this is a topic you want to talk about, I will I will talk about it. Thought I deleted it. LMAO. What's up, Graylin? Good to see you. Jeffrey cares about the bowl game. So TJ, any topic that you want to get to, we'll go straight to it. So whichever topic you want to, there you go. So everyone's talking about lower back pain, right? So I have not worked out in a while. And actually earlier today was the first time I've gotten back on a treadmill in quite some time. And I did like an incline, like walking workout. And it's hard on your back. And yeah, back pain sucks. It's hard to get over, right? As you get older, you're that back. I mean, it gets tough. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know what to tell you about back pain. I know it could be like brutal. I think my back is going to be sore tomorrow. Okay, and I am dreading it. It took me 3 months to get right after my pinched nerve. I mean, God, Chip is so good. It's going to be interesting to see, if Dante Moore is going to start for them year one. That's interesting. Brandon Harris, director of recruiting, Bo Davis. Skipper, I hope your wife starts feeling better. Miles Brennan out of nowhere, declaring for the NFL draft. Brandon, what's up? Good to see you. Harold Perkins photo. Now, TJ just says he's just listening. Good to see you. Yeah, so we didn't talk about Ali Gay tonight, so we'll touch on that. Obviously, he's not playing in the bowl game. We have 3 of our key defensive linemen not playing in the bowl game. BJ, Jaqueline, and Ali Gay. Jay Ward has decided to play in the bowl game, as did Jarek Bernard Converse. Cool stuff from them, right? I don't judge you if you want to sit out the bowl game. I just don't, especially considering these guys outside of Ali Gay, I believe, all played in this bowl game last year, which, I think the SEC championship game was a high note for those guys to go out on. And especially those 3 guys, since all of them came in 2020, they played through a lot for us. And all 3 of those guys played a lot of snaps. So I'm fine with that. But yeah. I'm just getting out of the car. I love this photo. One of my favorite things about this photo is that you have a car. I don't have a car. I need to get a car sponsorship, a car NIL deal, right? I need to get the Bijan Robinson NIL deal, right? Where I'm driving a Lambo around town. Charlie's got back pain. I guess I need to get a chiropractor. All right, let me write down sponsorship ideas. Okay. Charlie told me I need to get food. Okay, back pain. All right. I think we got jewelry. And I need a car sponsorship. Okay, those are going to be my 3 things. Car, food, back pain. That's what I have listed right here. This is that is so good. That is so freaking good. Ah! Oh man, I'm on the struggle bus with you, my man. Oh man. Oh man. That is so good. That is so good. Oh man. That is so funny. Oh God. Oh man. I was like, dang, TJ, this whip looks nice. Nah, I was just riding with some. Oh man. God bless. Another good super chat. You guys are so funny. Oh man. What if Brennan wore Crocs instead of flip flops? Believe it or not, I'm rocking my lemon pepper steppers tonight. I wear them. Oh boy, that's so good. Oh man, that's so funny. Ha 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 ha. Oh, that's so good. That's so funny. We got some Kylan Jackson truthers in here. I like it. All right, so TJ Super Chat is a good one. Chat, I need ideas for a new team to rebuild on NCAA 14. I've done LSU like 18 times so far. Oh, okay. I got a good one for you, TJ. I've got a really good one. Boise State. Okay, you got the blue turf of Boise State. All right. Who wouldn't like a Boise State rebuild on NCAA 14? That's actually a really good one if you ask me. Boise State, a school of, well, cool logo, blue turf, and Boise State needs a rebuild in a major way, right? Now, they did go to their bowl game. They did win their bowl game. They were going up against a quarterback who was 29 years of age, and he just entered the transfer portal. So let's do Boise State, TJ, because we need Ian Johnson and Jared Zabransky to make a comeback. We need Kellen Moore to make a comeback. But how are you going to recruit? How are you going to recruit Boise? Where are you going to get athletes? UTEP's not bad. UTEP's not bad. So right now in the chat, give TJ ideas of which team he should rebuild on NCAA 14. Okay. Rico, thank you so much for your generosity throughout the live stream today. I really do appreciate you. I appreciate your knowledge as well. I appreciate the profile photo. I don't think anyone could really say that they have a Roberto Clemente avatar. I still think Roberto's arm was so underrated. I think that was crazy, the cannon he had. Harsin ain't going back. Once he got to Auburn, and he's like, no, I'm not going back. Talk about a story. Okay. Where's the 30 for 30 about what really happened at Auburn? Did what happened actually happen? What actually happened with the offensive coordinator situation? Why did Derek Mason leave as a DC to go to the DC at Oklahoma State? Abby, he says UNLV. Yeah, I mean, come on, TJ. What's wrong with UNLV? You got recruits, got Bishop Gorman in your own backyard. Who needs Barry Odom? They need TJ Carr. Boise's uniforms. I love Boise's uniforms. I do. I like the Bronco. I like the blue and orange. It's good. Better than the other blue and orange team. UConn's uniforms are okay, right? I know that they went through like the craziest uniform sponsorships. I think they went from like Russell Athletic to New Balance to something else, right? My thing is, if you don't have a good jersey sponsorship, just go full fishnet. Just go fishnet jerseys, right? I think for one game they should bring the fishnet uniforms back. Like there's like every player needs to be wearing a fishnet uniform, elbow pads, and a neck roll. Could Tech compete with LSU if they had the facilities? I mean, yeah, but they would have to be a Power 5 school as well. But honestly, the neck roll needs to make a comeback. It does. Okay. So we are reaching the 2-hour mark here. I really appreciate it. I don't know if we actually touched 200 tonight. That's obviously really cool that we get that many people in here. It's obviously a lot of fun. So what we're going to do in the next 5 minutes, I'm going to answer as many questions as we possibly can. But if you do super chat, we'll keep this party moving all night long. Okay. So UConn will be the next goal for TJ. Okay. Billy Cannon had you had a Billy Cannon fishnet jersey a few years ago. The half shirts, baby, with the Ezekiel Elliott midriff. Eyes are getting heavy. I'm telling you, when you're on camera for a gazillion hours, people compliment and talk about your breathing. People will talk about your eyelids. They'll talk about your biceps. Every part of my body that is seen on camera has been broken down. Okay. Every single one of them. Okay. So it's interesting. But yes, my eyes are getting not heavy. I'm actually fine. One of Haley's best friends is over here now. So Jared said my stomach was two-tone from the half shirts. Yeah, Jason, sometimes you got to refresh the page. The everything else like updates kind of live except for like the likes. Did Coastal Carolina end up winning tonight? I know their quarterback got hurt. Or is that game still going on? I doubt it still is. What did this card end at? Oh, it's not bad for that. Like, who won the bowl game? Just give me the final score. Okay, it's on the same. Okay. Oh, so he's okay. Yeah, because their quarterback got hurt. Holton Allers for ECU had a career game. Mitchell's a good back. I mean, they stalemated him on like a 4th down. I remember watching that game early. Baller Girl. Thank you so much, Baller Girl, for your generous super chat. We'll keep it going. So, Baller Girl, you get to pick the next topic. Good to see you. All right. How would you rate the job the DB coaches did this year? Are they up to coaching up the DB room next year? It's a good question, right? Because so much was made of Corey Raymond leaving. Okay. So in Corey Raymond's first year at Florida, his DBs weren't good. They had a lot of blown coverages. Now, how much of that is the secondary coach? How much of that is Patrick Toney? That's up for debate. Okay. But Florida blew a lot of coverages this year. Also, even though they've won a lot of games, the Vikings have blown a lot of coverages this year. And Durante Jones is the DB coach there. And once again, he's at the DC. The DC has more weight in the coverage responsibilities, but I just wanted to include that. I found that to be very interesting. Now, neither one of those DB rooms have, Jalen Ramsey's back there, but I just wanted to include that. Yeah, they were fine. Obviously, for me, this was the first full year for, honestly, it was a bold decision for LSU to go with the DB coaches that they actually went with. Okay. Obviously, Kerry Cooks is very experienced, and he is a Brian Kelly disciple. So it made sense that Brian Kelly went with familiarity and a guy that's been around. Robert Steeples was good this year. Lots of transfers coming in at corners, but they were transfers, older transfers, adults, right? What is he going to do with young players that he recruited? How will he develop them for as DB coaches? Does he develop them well? Does he not develop them well? Keep in mind, this is his first full year as a college defensive back coach. So as a position coach, you're still trying to find your voice. You're still trying to find what actually are you good at? Is it evaluating prospects? Is it coaching prospects? Is it just being a mentor? You honestly got to be good at all of it. So I think the DB coaches did fine this year. I really did. I do think there were times where our corners are talented. There were times where I thought our DBs could have turned their heads a little quicker, right? I think a good example was Gardner on that throw that Cade Fortin of Arkansas was a perfect throw to Matt Landers. And Matt Landers is one of the better receivers in the SEC this year. But I do think, since the ball was perfectly thrown, it's tough to say. But yeah, I think our DBs could have been a little bit better there. But overall, I think they were fine. I do. Now, at the same time, Baller Girl, the good thing is if you have Harold Perkins on the field, you don't have to worry too much about coverage on the back end, but we won't have Ojolari and those guys. So I think this is a really good question. I thought this was a good year, especially considering, losing Corey Raymond, who was very popular, played at LSU from New Iberia, and replacing them with two outsiders, and both of them did really, really, really good this year. Because there was a lot of question marks about Kerry Cooks and mostly his job he did at Oklahoma, but I think they were fine. What they do these next couple of years as our DB room does get younger, because we did have a lot of adults. We had a bunch of guys who know the ins and outs of the position. Okay. The baby said quieter, please. The baby. I don't know why she hadn't brought her in here. Z-Baby's not made an appearance in a while. Josh Jacobs, still your comp for Caleb Jackson. Keep this train rolling. God, Josh Jacobs was really good this year. And ironically, Doug, I'm going to be honest. I know a lot of fantasy analysts. There's so many of them out there. But one of my fantasy mentors is actually a big PHL supporter. His name is Derek, and he's watching right now. Derek was a big Josh Jacobs supporter.
Hi, Papa.
Oh, look.
Why did we not get a mention? The baby did.
You want to say hi? Come on. Everybody say hi to Ken.
Here's a baby.
She's from a family full of LSU supporters.
Yes, she is.
Look at that.
Hey, everybody.
Everybody
The baby.
She hadn't made an appearance in a while. She only looking at kids. It's been a while.
Let's see what people. Hey, everybody.
I want you to see Tony's avatar. Look at this. Look what he's wearing.
Nice.
Look
Where's
at that.
Power Hour LSU?
Tony and Tony was our Presley Collection winner tonight.
Nice.
He won the Presley Trivia tonight. I think Big Al's in here. He was the one that won the jewelry.
Oh, was it?
Go Big Al.
Everybody say hi to the baby. Everybody said Z. Try to scroll back down, bub.
Let me get some Shuggy.
She
I'm not. She doesn't give him no sugar. She only cares about Ken.
She only loves Kinley.
Ken, what are you doing wearing slippies?
Aren't they cute?
They are cute, Ken.
You don't tell me I don't have a good fit on, Carter.
Look at
She
that.
does with her full Nike fit.
Let me see your slippies. Let's see it. Okay, look at this. Imagine going out in public and you see someone wearing these.
Come to hey,
Go. Yeah, look, people come into our house wearing their house slippers. Where is the class? And this is. No, I'm
The
just.
class is right here, baby. Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. What y'all doing?
You go home and go to bed.
Going to bed?
Yeah.
There you go.
Can I have one of these?
What is it? Yeah, it's yours. Show them what you got.
Oh, I got a sticker. I put on my MacBook and everybody know.
MacBook. There you go. Look at that on the MacBook Pro. Let's go. Huh? Good to see y'all.
Kelly's walking Z baby down the aisle.
Oh yeah, there you go. Z baby getting one. Ah! But yeah, Josh Jacobs to Caleb Jackson. I think that honestly is pretty good. So yeah, Derek actually drafted Josh Jacobs in so many of his fantasy leagues. He bought the dip, right? That's what you should do, not only in fantasy football, but sports cards. You got to buy the dip, right? It's just like regular stocks. One of my viewers, Charlie's really into that stuff. Got to buy the dip. Let's go to TJ here. It is a little bit later. So when it get for those that don't know, if it gets a little later, obviously we'll have guests rolling in. And we'll chat about some other stuff that's not LSU football related. Okay. Then Walmart shoes. Where's my dang hoodie? Is your hoodie on the way? Doug? Shoot me an email after this, Doug. Did you order a hoodie and it's not there yet? Michael B is the king of dog lovers here in PHL. Tony Z, everybody's Z baby. Ken, she's one of the strongest people I know. Shout out. Foxy Brown. So it's not there yet. So Doug, shoot me an email. I could check to see. That's crazy to me. So once again, I don't do the hoodies. Go to powerhourlsu.com and they take care of all of that. And yeah, wow. Doug, email me after this and I'll get to the bottom of it. It's either they should have it there or you should have a refund. So as it gets later on, I mind taking super chats and questions about LSU football related stuff. See, I know you said you wait till after football to watch the Pels, but from what you've seen, what are your impressions of the team, and do we need to make an upgrade at center? Okay. So, TJ, I will share this. I've not shared this too often. I don't have a super duper close relationship with this guy, but someone like Daniel Gafford would be very interesting. I know Daniel. I interviewed him a bunch when he was in high school, and he's a backup center for the Wizards. I haven't gotten a chance to watch Jonas Valanciunas a whole lot this year. I know a lot of people have pointed out some regression. I do think the center position is still important. Obviously, I'm not Mason Ginsberg. I don't watch his team every day. Those guys, Fear the Brown, all those guys are Jake Madison, Lopez, Guillory, all those guys do. They know way more about this than I do. Okay. But what I'll tell you is, obviously as teams move more towards a small ball lineup, in crunch time, you don't really play a whole lot with a traditional center. So obviously, this is a big need, but it's not the absolute most pressing need. It is for the Pelicans, but still, we'll see. I don't think it's too big of a deal. But yeah, I don't know what kind of trades you can make at this point. I don't do the NBA trade machines on ESPN all that much. I just don't have the time. But I don't know exactly what would be out there. And also NBA salary cap stuff is just so way over my comprehension. It gets into, mid-level exemptions and bird rights and all this stuff. I don't know what any of that means. I tried to understand it. I would be the worst salary cap wizard ever. Now that I do mention that, TJ, I do think that's going to be interesting for college football teams moving forward, because NILs are going to be budgets. And, while there won't be contracts that are super complicated, such as guaranteed money, dead cap money, and all of that, there is no cap. There is technically a cap because there's only so much money in theory, right? So I do think capology will become more of a college football thing, even though there's not a cap. There will be, more money experts involved in that. So yeah. As far as an upgrade on center, I don't know. I can't. I don't watch the team enough to really know that. But my impressions of the team are really good. This gets into, my big issues with the NBA. I'm not the biggest fan of the postseason. I watch it. I love it. I grew up watching it. But you play all these games. You play all these regular season games. And all of it gets decided in these random series formats. By the way, basketball is never played in a series at any level at any point of your career. But it is for the most important award in all the sports, or in all of basketball. It's very strange. Impressions of the team are obviously really good. Being atop the West and being one of the elite teams is really good. Obviously, winning 2 of 3 on that stretch versus the Suns is really good. Obviously, Zion's playing really well, and you've not had Herb, you've not had BI. All good news, right? So yeah, I once again, TJ, I'll be able to answer this question a little bit more as the offseason gets a little deader. And I'll be better equipped because I'll be able to sit down and actually watch full games. So yes, TJ, obviously I'm really excited. I'm not, I love basketball. The NBA was my favorite thing growing up. I'm not as advanced in my NBA knowledge as I am, like college football, right? NBA is a tough sport to break down as well. It's simple, yet it's complicated. So hopefully I answered your question okay, TJ. Tried my best. So Kinley is the best. I'm very blessed, for her. Her friend Kyla has been on our stream before. 2 big supporters of PHL, her brother Corbin and all them. Really, really good people. Okay. LSU basketball kicking off SEC play tomorrow night. We're fixing to see what this team is made of, what these teams are made of. Very interesting, right? So you look at the SEC as a whole, 3 SEC teams in the top 10, 7, 8, 9, I believe, is Alabama, Tennessee, Arkansas. Obviously, it's very interesting, right? So LSU plays Arkansas tomorrow, and Juice Hill, the starting point guard. I actually know a little bit about this kid's story. I know his dad through Facebook. So this kid was processed by the Razorbacks his true freshman season because Musk came in and wanted to revamp the roster. So he goes to Murray State, and I always cheer for undersized point guards, especially at a school like Murray State, right? And Juice Hill balls out there, and now he's getting to play at LSU, a Power 5 school, his dream. He's getting to play a team from his home state that didn't want him. So I'm really excited for him to get this opportunity, right? For me, I've watched Arkansas a few times this year. Haley's a big Arkansas basketball fan, so we've watched a few games this year, and where they struggle is shooting. They are truly athletic. They have far more talent than we do, just based on like NBA draft boards and all of that. But their 5-star player Nick Smith is hurt, and while LSU is 5-point underdogs versus Arkansas, we are at home. They're both 11-1 teams, and yeah, I think I think LSU can win this tomorrow. I do. Arkansas really struggles with perimeter shooting. They don't have like a deep assassin, and we'll see what LSU can do tomorrow. Obviously, I am not the foremost expert on either of these teams. I mostly try and stay in my lane, but we'll see. We'll see. Are you going, John? Let's go. I better see a bunch of photos from you, man. You got my number. Safe travels. And we'll see you Thursday night. Okay. Next live stream will be Thursday. Okay. Not high at all. And this isn't me saying this. These are the recruiting reporters who talk to these people every day. It's not that high at all. Is it still within reach? Yeah, it's still within reach, but it's not. Here's a good rule of thumb in recruiting. If you struggle to get a kid on campus, you're going to struggle to get him. It's just how it works, right? Unless you become the highest bidder, and then that changes things. But the kid's got to get on campus, and yeah, it's just hard. It's really, really, really hard. So, while all schools have great facilities, all schools give great official visits. Obviously, LSU's trophy room and all that stuff is really, really, really elite. You need the kid to get on campus to feel it out. Okay. So, yeah, I mean, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Obviously, LSU becomes a way better football team if they get him, though. Oh, that's good. I love the Caleb Jackson, Josh Jacobs comparison. They are very similar football players. Reminds you so much of them. All right. Now, type Y for yes. I actually am a Muggsy Bogues fan. That is good. There needs to be more Muggsy Bogues content out there. Let's go. Braylon Allen truthers. Let's go. Huh? So I'll throw the spicy take out before we go. Would you be open to a Sean Payton, Tom Brady led Saints team? Type Y for yes, type N for no. Would you be open for a Tom Brady, Sean Payton coached Saints team. Pro Football Focus, or Pro Football Talk, floated that back out there. Would you be open to that possibility? Okay. Derek says yes. Jared says yes. Kerry says yes. Jay Tower says yes. King of S. Cobb says yes. Rather go 0-17. TJ says yes, yes, yes. Who wouldn't see yes? Bucci say yes. That's true. It was rumored 3 years ago. Music says sure. Raylan says yes. Will says it's not going to happen. I think you're right. So here's what I'll say about this. Okay. Why I want to say no. And it's not an anti-Sean Payton thing. As you guys know, I'm not a Brady guy. It's just, I'm fine with him. I think he's hilarious. I don't dislike him. He's just not. I just think it's kind of hard because I was a big Peyton Manning guy. I think it's kind of hard to be a big Peyton Manning guy and a big Drew Brees guy, and then also just be a big Tom Brady guy. So I don't dislike him. If he wanted to jump on the channel, he could jump on whenever he wants. Obviously, I would just ask him about Leonard Fournette and Russell Gage for 2 hours, but still. Obviously, Brady would be good with Peyton. I don't think Tom has looked washed per se. The Buccaneers coaching is really bad, right? Bowles has been really bad on fourth down decisions, and Tampa's rush EPA on first down is so bad, but they continuously run for 2 yards on first. I don't know why they do it. Makes you very predictable, so on and so on and so on. And I love Byron Leftwich. The Marshall Byron Leftwich was some of the most fun quarterbacking I've ever seen. Right, him getting carried by his offensive lineman. So obviously Peyton would make Drew better, okay? And, Michael Thomas had an interesting something on Instagram. I saw it a little bit earlier today. Won't go too deep into that because I saw it briefly and then I was kind of busy earlier, okay? I'm coming back, Saints fans, and Brady's coming with me. Let's go. Confirmed. I love that. That's funny. Brady was great in it. So look, it depends on how you feel about Drew Brees. Okay. So Drew would never admit this because you can't really admit this because it comes off sour. I think Drew Brees is driven crazy by Tom Brady, right? Drew Brees is a uber competitive guy. You kind of have to be if you're undersized and you've had doubters, you've had injuries, and all Tom Brady's done is just always one up you, right? You get robbed of the Super Bowl matchup versus Tom Brady, which really, honestly, in the grand scheme of things, really hurts Drew Brees' legacy. It doesn't for Saints fans, but overall it does. So you robbed of that opportunity to play Brady, and the Rams obviously sucked in that game. Then your final game, Tom Brady beat you in your building, even though you blew him out twice during the season. Right? He beat you in the final game in your career. Very unfair. And by the way, that just happened to be the first year that the playoff format went to a 1-7 format. So you got unlucky with that, where the week before you played the Bears, you beat them, but Taysom Hill got hurt and Latavius Murray got hurt. So you got very unlucky with that you had to play, you lost the bye as a 2 seed, and then you had to play the 5, and you had to beat the Bucs for a third time. And Drew played awful. And I know we can get into Jared Cook and all that different stuff, but, Drew did not play well. Okay, so you have that. Tom Brady ended your career in your building, the house that you built. Then you get into broadcasting. Well, you're not given any great broadcasting assignments. who actually wants to call games in South Bend, Indiana, when you see quarterbacks that you're better than, quarterbacks that don't have near the same following, get these huge broadcasting deals, right? You want Tony Romo's job right when you get out, okay? Then Drew Brees is trying to grind his way up the broadcasting ladder just to see Tom Brady sign this Fox Sports deal for $25 million whenever Brady wants to finish his career. So all these different things, if I was Drew Brees, would drive me nuts. It may not drive him nuts. But now you then hear that the entire plot, the entire time at the end of your career was Sean Payton leaving for the Miami Dolphins to go team up with someone that you considered your contemporary, just for that plot to be foiled by racism and nasty Miami Dolphins lawsuits. And now it comes full circle that that coach and that quarterback are coming to steal your thunder with the franchise that you helped rebuild. Okay. Now, here's the truth about society. The Saints aren't in the business of doing what's best for Drew Brees. And it is a flawed way of thinking. But I'm just going to tell you that it is going to drive Drew Brees insane. It is. And this is coming from someone, and obviously I'm not near the athlete Drew Brees is. I'm not ever going to claim that. But I was a smaller athlete. And when I played, I wish I didn't have like the killer instinct that like obviously like a Kobe or a Jordan had. I didn't have a sicko mode, if you will. But I did always have this chip on my shoulder for being undersized. You do always have, people that pick on you that say you're too. For me, I was too slow. I wasn't a fast guy at all. I was not athletic. I was small. I didn't have a good vertical leap. And I had people say, "Hey, you're not athletic enough," and I wasn't. But I worked my tail off to where I could play. And you have a little bit of a chip on your shoulder if you have that background. So I feel for Drew Brees in that. Obviously, he's lived a life that every single one of us would wish we could live. And he's going in the Hall of Fame. And he's one of the 20 best quarterbacks to ever play the game. But that would drive me insane. And, I don't know if the vibes are there. So, yeah. I don't know if you agree or disagree with that. I don't think it's going to happen. And I'm not sure if I want it to happen. I just don't. I think it'd be interesting. I like Sean a lot. But as you can see, I have Drew Brees cards, and I understand out of all times for me to be a Drew Brees sympathizer, he's going to be the opposite sideline of the team I truly, truly, truly do love here in a week, as a guest coach for Purdue, or a guest assistant, if you will. So there you go. The Mahomes story is pretty interesting, though. I think that one's interesting. What's up, LSU Sway? Merry Christmas, Happy New Year from the ATL. Good to see you. Appreciate you, Gary. Yeah, Larry, it's always tough to compete when the quarterback gets the big contract. Well, that's more powerful magic. Drew Brees' birthmark or Sean Payton's forehead. The truth is, Sean Payton and Drew Brees are friends. All the elite quarterbacks are friends, right? Either share an agent or friends or teammates or whatever. Okay. But yeah, it's very, very, very interesting. Oh, this is crazy. So I didn't know this. Maybe one of you guys are watching this in the background. So the Mavericks played somebody tonight. Oh, they played the Knicks. And NBA teams. Okay, I know you guys love stats. I'll pull it up here. Okay. Once again, you might be a smaller person and you might not have that. You might not have had that Napoleon thing. I kind of did when I played sports. I know it's a little bit, because I was smaller. So I want to show you this. I know you guys love crazy stats. Okay. NBA teams were 0 and 13,884 in the last 20 seasons when trailing by at least 9 with 35 or fewer seconds remaining per ESPN stats and info. Luka Doncic and the Mavs pulled off a miracle. Okay, I've got to go watch this after this. NBA, this is a crazy stat. 0 and 13,884. What the heck are you freaking kidding me? 0 and 13,000. That doesn't even look real. Yeah, I don't know, LSU Sway. It'd be a lot. And Sean Payton's making money, doing the broadcasting thing. That's a crazy stat. Who's the best player in the league right now? So this kind of goes along with TJ's, question. I'm not watching enough. I'm always going to default to the defending MVP. And I watched that Suns Denver game on Christmas. My goodness, Jokic is so good. It's crazy. I think I would obviously take I would probably take Giannis out of these 4. But man, that's tough. That's tough, right? And I know it's the Eastern Conference, but at least Giannis and Tatum have a finals appearance. Giannis is such a monster, though. That's tough. It is interesting 3 of those guys are international guys. Very interesting stuff. Are you like Doncic? That's a good investment, man. Luka's going to be a legend. Oh, one more NBA thing, if I might. The Dirk Nowitzki statue was so freaking good. I know it's the most popular thing is just crapping on statues. Dear Lord, that is such and that statue. I think the Shaq statue is really good at LSU, but goodness gracious, the Dirk Nowitzki statue is so freaking good that the Mavericks did. They did a really good job with that. Okay. I just realized RN means right now. I like this. I like the layers to this. I just realized RN means right now. So what Jared is saying, you're really good at this. Jared just said, I just realized right now means right now. But this is a double entendre, right? This sentence is him saying, I just realized RN means right now. But it could also be explained like this. I just realized right now means right now. So it honestly is a pretty clever dad joke. So just one more time. He is saying RN right now means right now. So right now, Jarrett realized RN, which is short for right now, means right now. And he just realized right now that RN is right now. I just thought y'all were nursing fans. Just a double dad joke, and we're going to end on that. Thank you guys so much. And RN, I'm going to end this live stream. If it is in your heart's desire, please get yourself a PHL hat. I will not take any complaints from people that say, well, I didn't know. I didn't know. Do you have any more of those hats? They're selling like crazy, right? There are people that don't watch my channel that are buying them. I'm serious. And you should get yours right now, like RN. Okay. So, something else you can do. Okay. PowerHourLSU.com. Right here. The link. If you really want to make my heart whole, go get you some merch right now. RN. Okay. Lots of goodies right there. One of my favorite things tonight was one of my diehard viewers, Tony, getting some PHO merch. LSU Sway, Pegasus, King of S. Cobb. Rico, before you get that next Luka Doncic PSA 9. I'm going to get you some PHO merch. Okay. So there you go. Now, I had a very good conversation with somebody close to Garrett NUSSMEIER, and I shared some of the details right here, patreon.com/LSU football. The good thing about that is you get to be a part of my Discord. So you get a one-on-one chat with me via Zoom. Also, you get to be a part of an LSU chat room that's 24/7 LSU football. We also have a sports card channel in there. We got a fantasy football channel. I'll set your lineup. It is championship week. So come on over, patreon.com/LSU football, and that gets you into the Discord. Music, there you go. Music, if you want a hat, hit me up. Let's do it. Okay. It is Power Hour LSU, baby. Boom. And tonight we are doing some leftover chicken dressing. Let's go. Chatting in the Discord. Let's go.